Hello and welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today we're offering you 5 reasons why this year could be the year when Liverpool finally win their first Premier League title. Let's get started. 5. Manchester City injury issues. It seems like a strange place to start, but we can't begin to talk about this season's title race without talking first about the current champions. The Citizens may have acquired 198 points and scored 201 goals over the last 2 Premier League seasons, 26 more points than Liverpool in that time, but some early season injuries have left some questioning their summer recruitment. The Sky Blues spent €169 million, 167 more than Liverpool, on players including Rodri, João Cancelo and Angelino. But they chose not to replace the outgoing company, who played 26 games in all competitions in 18-19 and instead banked on Laporte, Stones, Otamendi and Fernandinho's fitness to cover their matches, which totalled 60 games last campaign. But just 37 minutes into their 4th league game of the season, disaster struck, as their best defender, Aymeric Laporte, who featured in all but 9 of their games in 18-19, went down injured. Reportedly out until February, Guardiola claimed a lack of funds this summer prevented him from recruiting a centre-back. This is not only ridiculous, considering his net spend of €86 million was the 3rd highest in the division, behind Villa and Arsenal, but they chose to sell the perfectly able Danilo for Cancelo in a €34 million swap, rather than invest in the centre of their defence. That forced Guardiola to play a centre-back pairing of Otamendi and Stones against Norwich, a duo he has only trusted to start 4 league games since Laporte's arrival. That lack of familiarity cost them, as they put in a horror display in City's first Premier League defeat in 17 games. At least City fans won't have to endure that pairing for another month though, with Stones picking up a muscle injury last week. As if that wasn't bad enough, they also have 23-year-old superstar Leroy Sané out until at least December, after he tore his ACL just 10 minutes into the Community Shield against Liverpool. Although the 21-cap German saw the arrival of Mahrez and the ridiculous form of Bernardo Silva limit him to just 21 Premier League starts in 18-19, the 9th best in the squad, he still contributed 10 goals and 10 assists. In fact, his average of a goal contribution every 93 minutes was better than Sterling's 102, and only topped by Aguero's ridiculous 85 minutes per goal or assist. Whilst Riyad Mahrez has started the season in flying form, with an expected goals and assist ratio of 1.07 per 90, he'll be hard-pressed to replicate Sané's fantastic form over the last 2 seasons. Guardiola's men may have survived KDB's injury in 18-19 with aplomb, but any more injuries to their key players and Liverpool will be expected to capitalise. 4. The Klopp Effect. On the 8th of October 2015, Jurgen Klopp strolled through the doors of Anfield and signed a 3-year contract with the then 5 times Champions League winners. Liverpool had won just 3 of their opening 8 games and sat 10th, just 16 months on from Rodgers' side of SSS, Coutinho and Gerrard finishing just 2 points behind Man City. Klopp's task was simple: take a squad which included Kulka, Allen and Benteke, which had lost 12 league games the previous campaign, just 2 fewer than Stoke, and turned them into Premier League and Champions League winners. And the former Borussia Dortmund manager, who reached a Champions League final and won 2 Bundesliga titles with his former club, has completely revolutionised the Reds' squad since. The club has spent a massive €445 million since the start of 16-17, 121 million more than their recent Champions League final opponents Spurs, on players of the quality of Mane, Salah, Van Dijk and Alisson. In fact, of the 20 players who played the most league minutes in the 18-19 campaign that are still at the club, all bar 4, Firmino, Milner, Gomez and Lovren, were brought in under Klopp. That's an incredible level of squad turnover, more akin to a mid-table side. And yet, Klopp has managed to not only pick up 248 points in his 3 full seasons at the club, 42 more than the previous 3 entire campaigns, leading them to 2 4th place finishes and a 2nd place, but he has turned them into regulars on Europe's biggest stages. Prior to Klopp taking over, the 18-time English champions hadn't reached a European final since 2007, and hadn't got out of the Champions League group stages since 2008-09. The season before the Germans' arrival, Liverpool won just one of their 6 group games before dropping into the Europa League, where they promptly lost on penalties to Besiktas. But since then, they've reached 3 European finals in 4 years, including 2 Champions League finals, the same amount as Barcelona have played in the last 9 years, showing that Klopp has fully converted Liverpool into a European force once more. Despite currently conceding 10.5 shots per game, the 6th best record in the division, and being the 3rd best side according to expected goals, Liverpool find themselves 5 points clear before the end of September. Not playing at their best and already ahead, this must surely be Klopp's year to take advantage of Man City's injury woes. 3. World-class fullbacks. When looking to separate 2 sides that had just 1 point between them in 18-19, you have to pick out the differences. And to be honest, there aren't many. After all, these sides have played 6 times since the start of 17-18, with Liverpool winning 3, City 2, and drawing their October the 2018 clash 0-0 at Anfield. In those games, Klopp's men have scored 10 to City's 11, but 5 of those goals came against 10-man Liverpool after Mane sending off in September 2017. But whilst their forward lines match up pretty well, and they can both lay claim to having 2 of the best goalkeepers not just in the Premier League, but in the world, we believe Liverpool's main advantage comes in the fullback areas. Whilst Man City have spent €187 million, bringing in the likes of Walker, Cancelo, Mendy and Angelino, Liverpool's first choice fullbacks of Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Gomez and Milner cost just €13.8 million. And it's clear who has got better value for money. Last year, academy graduate Alexander-Arnold and former Dundee United flyer Robertson proved themselves to be the most deadly attacking fullback duo in Europe, with 28 League and Champions League assists between them. That's 17 more than Walker, Mendy, Zinchenko and Danilo managed combined. 20-year-old TAA provided 12 league assists in just 29 games, a figure topped only by 7 players in Europe's top 5 leagues. But not satisfied with that, the 7-capped Englishman, who seems to have displaced Walker as Southgate's first choice, has taken his game to new levels in 1920. His shots have risen from 1.1 to 1.3, his long balls from 4 to 4.4, and his key passes have more than doubled to 3.8 per 90, a figure only topped by KDB and Mahrez in the Premier League. Not to be outdone, Robertson is taking nearly 4 times as many shots per 90 this season than last, and almost double the dribbles at 1.5 per 90. Whilst his expected goals and assists per 90 ratio of 0.32, whilst far below TAA's 0.62, dwarfs Zinchenko's 0.14. Still just 25 and 20 respectively, Robertson and Arnold have the potential to terrorise Premier League defences for the next 7 years at least. A terrifying prospect for City fans. Before we go any further, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a video. 2. Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. It's a commonly held misconception that in order to win the Premier League, you need a phenomenal defence. But in fact, only 3 of the last 10 champions have conceded the fewest goals. On average, these 10 teams have conceded 33 goals, 11 more than Liverpool conceded in their near miss of 18-19. The Reds' defensive solidity was primarily down to the imperious form of Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, signed for a combined €132 million just 6 months apart. Alisson's impact was instantaneous. Liverpool went from a side that conceded 38 goals in 17-18, 1 fewer than Burnley, to one that had the 3rd best defence in Europe according to expected goals, behind City and Bayern Munich. Where before Liverpool had struggled to build from the back and avoid sloppy goalkeeping errors, the 42-capped Brazilian instantly improved the side, saving 77% of all shots on goal, 19% more than David De Gea in 18-19. The International youth product was aided, however, by Virgil van Dijk producing one of the best centre-back seasons of all time. The 28-year-old Dutchman played all 38 Premier League games, missing just 35 minutes of action, helping Liverpool concede their fewest amount of goals in a single season in 40 years. The stats were breathtaking. He not only completed nearly 90% of his passes, but found a man with 5.3 long balls a game, more than Kepa Arrizabalaga. He was not only crucial to Liverpool's build-up play, but their defending, completing 100% of the tackles he attempted, a simply remarkable tally. Van Dijk hasn't had the best start to this season by his standards. He was finally drawn past for the first time in 50 Premier League games by Nicolas Pepe at the end of August, and did make a mistake against Napoli in the Champions League. But we feel the performances of the best centre-back in the world, in front of one of the world's best goalkeepers when he returns, could make all the difference as they search for the elusive first Premier League title. 1. A front three in form. Before you get overexcited, we aren't saying that Man City don't have some wonderful attacking players. After all, Sergio Aguero, Raheem Sterling and Kevin De Bruyne have contributed a frankly ridiculous 24 goals between them in a combined 17 games at the start of 1920. But Liverpool's first choice front three of Salah, Mane and Firmino have taken their fine 18-19 form, in which they scored 56 goals between them, or 63% of their side's total, and upped it again. While Salah and Mane are once again in phenomenal form, having contributed 12 Premier League goals already, and seem to have put their spat in the Burnley game behind them, it's actually Firmino who's proving to be the most important member of the trio. Despite scoring 12 and assisting 6 in 34 league games in 18-19, whilst operating at 0.69 expected goals and assists per 90 throughout, there were some people suggesting that the 27-year-old Brazilian wasn't pulling his goal-scoring weight in 18-19, and that Klopp should replace him with an out-and-out number 9 like Timo Werner. But after shining at this summer's Copa America, in which his 2 goals and 3 assists were vital to the Seleção winning their first Copa in 12 years, he has proven his doubters in England wrong in spectacular fashion. 3 goals, 3 assists in 6 appearances, an average of a goal contribution every 82 minutes. The 38-capped international is on fire. Klopp, aware that the former Hoffenheim man may be in need of a rest, left him on the bench for the visit of Newcastle. But with his side 1-0 down and with Origi hobbling off, the German was forced into bringing on this season's talisman. 2 shots, 4 key passes and a beautiful backheeled assist for Salah later, and the crucial win was secured. But why should we be surprised? After all, this is a player who is currently operating at 0.9 expected goals and assists per 90 this campaign, only topped by Salah in the red side. With Liverpool conceding almost 2 more shots per game than in 18-19, a figure topped by 4 teams at current, they will need their elite front line to continue their exceptional form if they are to topple City. Whilst Mane and Salah might grab all the headlines, we can't help but think that it is in fact Firmino in his 5th season in England who holds the key to their success. So those were our 5 reasons why Liverpool can win the Premier League this year, but do you think we're wrong? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you click on the video on screen right now for more. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.